If you own or lease farmland in Iowa, an important date is fast approaching. Under Iowa law, September 1st is the statutory date for making changes in farm tenancy agreements. This provision applies to both landlords and to tenants. So if you want to add new terms to the lease, to change the rent, or to terminate a lease by next March 1st, you need to act soon. This is Professor Neil Hamilton from the Drake University Agricultural Law Center with today's Our Water, Our Land. Farm tenancy has always been an important part of Iowa agriculture. Over the years, the amount of land being leased and the type of farm leases used has changed. But today, over 50% of Iowa's farmland is farmed under some form of lease agreement, most of them cash rent. This amounts to over 12 million acres of land, making farm lease arrangements a very important part of how we manage our land and our water in Iowa. Farm leases in Iowa are typically for 1 year, even written agreements, but they can be for longer terms. And for oral leases, which are still somewhat commonly used, a provision of law called the statute of frauds makes them only binding for 1 year between the parties. Now, having said that, many lease agreements and relations may last for many years as the parties continue and extend the lease from year to year. This is why the legal requirement to provide notice by September 1st is of such importance. If neither party provides notice of any changes or of a termination in the agreement by that date, it is legally binding for the next crop year. Of course, if the parties agree, new terms, such as a change in the rental amount, can always be agreed to at a later date. The important point is that one party may not unilaterally change the lease, such as terminating it or raising the rent after September 1st unless statutory notice was given. One exception to this rule is for failure to pay the rent. The lease renewal deadline creates an important opportunity for tenants and landlords to discuss what should be in the lease agreement. If you've ever looked at a form lease, such as the Iowa State Bar Association agricultural lease, you can see that it contains dozens of different clauses applying to most of the potential circumstances that can arise between the parties. As a legal contract and a conveyance of real property, the lease is an important legal agreement between the parties communicating their expectations, goals, and obligations. Anything can be included in the lease if the parties agree, though most attention focuses on the amount of the rent and the timing and method for its payment. Of course, economics are always important, especially in times of economic stress like we currently face due to this unfortunate trade war. But our history as an agricultural state tells us that there's more to good farming than just the highest yields and dollars and cents. A farm lease can, and arguably should, address many other aspects of the farm tenancy relationship, including conservation. When it comes to soil conservation and land stewardship, a wide range of issues could be considered. From the perspective of the landlord, questions to ask could include, how do you want the land farmed? Do you want the tenant to adopt a conservation plan or to follow nutrient management rules? Would you like to see the land enrolled in available USDA conservation programs? From the tenant's perspective, key questions might include, will the landlord help you pay for conservation practices, such as using cover crops or installing other water quality protection practices on the farm, such as filter strips? And if you retire some of the least productive acres, will either the amount of the rent or the number of acres you're paying rent for be reduced accordingly? There's no one correct answer to questions like these, but the most important thing is for the landlord and tenant to have an opportunity to discuss them so they can come to a mutual understanding of their expectations. Iowa's farmland owners and the tenants who farm their land play critical roles in determining how well we care for our land and our water in Iowa. If Iowa's landowners and their tenants don't discuss conservation issues, then we're missing an important opportunity to improve how our land is farmed and to see that our water quality and soil health are protected. September 1st is a great time for everyone involved in farm leasing to discuss how the farm tenancy agreement can be used to advance the goals of protecting our land and our water. Why wait until next year to become part of the solution? This has been Professor Neil Hamilton at Drake University Agricultural Law Center with today's Our Water, Our Land.